Please, people, don't believe all the propaganda Angelina Ballerina Jesuits are putting out about Steve Bannon. Just because somebody accuses you of something does not make it so. Jesuits have successfully labeled me as paranoid schizophrenic who's a danger to myself and others, but this is a lie. The Jesuit-controlled news media is doing a great job of brain control on the masses, especially those of the liberal persuasion. Being a victim myself of Jesuit propaganda, I know how effective it can be. The most accurate way to determine who's a demon is who is for Angelina Ballerina and who's against her. Hillary Clinton was for Angelina Ballerina. That's all you need to know. All else is irrelevant. I don't demonize people based on their ideology. I demonize them based on their support for Angelina Ballerina, who is the epitome of every form of evil from all political and ideological persuasions. Using this as my criteria to judge the worthiness of a public servant or government official, I have judged George W. Bush to have been a lousy United States president, which gets me the ire of some conservatives, and Barack Obama to have been a courageous and great president until the Jesuits murdered him and corrupted his automaton. Bill Clinton was president at a time when Jesuits ruled the roost in U.S. politics, so he was pretty much a disaster as a U.S. president. Thus far, it appears that Donald Trump is the most anti-Jesuit of all presidents yet, due to the fact that he's actually my right arm as I am the U.S. president. I'll rate the past presidents. Ronald Reagan, 4 stars. George Herbert Walker Bush, 3.5 stars. Bill Clinton, 2 stars. George W. Bush, 1 star. Barack Obama, 3 stars after he became an automaton, 5 stars before he was murdered when he was alive. Donald Trump, 5 stars plus thus far. If Hillary was elected, I'd give her a 5-star minus, which means she would be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb on the United States as a leader. If Bernie Sanders was elected, I'd give him a 3-star rating. How do I determine the stars? It depends on how much the leader supports the Jesuits. The more they support the Jesuits, the less their rating. So the more anti-Jesuit they are, the higher their rating. Actually, most of Angelina Ballerina's Jesuits are shallow young people who know nothing about life except what they've learned in Jesuit classrooms. Angelina has less luck with those who have common sense and some wisdom. Angelina herself is a very evil young person. Satan has better luck with fools who have not lived life and learned the lessons of being alive for a while. The older people who side with Angelina are usually very strong liberal ideologues who are so set in their ideology that they've lost a balanced perspective and are more susceptible to Angelina's brain control. Angelina herself is a strong pragmatist and not an ideologue, but because she's not an ideologue, but knows what the ideologues believe, she's chosen to align herself with the liberals who are more easily manipulated by her because there are a lot of atheists on the liberal side. On the conservative side are a lot of religious people who adhere to some sort of moral code, and so Angelina has better luck with liberals and touts a liberal agenda to get most of her supporters. But she encourages hypocrisy from her liberal followers, which the more shallow of her liberal followers adhere to. Also, the more fanatical you are and the more emotionally invested you are in your ideology, the easier it is for Angelina to get you under her brain control. She's able to get some conservatives for this reason, but she uses them mostly to discredit the conservative movement. So these fanatical conservatives think they are against her when they're actually for her. Any type of fanaticism and excess emotionalism works to Angelina's advantage. She's great at manipulating emotions, so we all need to take a step back, look at the big picture, and realize we are all being manipulated by Angelina. I've learned over the years that Jesuits tend to be fanatics and very intolerant and violent. They love anarchy and love to cause violence and disorder in society. This was true even under Zach Knight. However, Zach himself was an ideologue and encouraged his Jesuits to adopt his moral code, which basically was an objection to Jesus needing to die on the cross for everybody's sins, and an appeal to God to accept everyone as they are without the need for an atonement. Angelina has no moral code. She only has one objective, and that is control over everybody, which is why her strongest attribute is her ability to use brain control on people. She doesn't care what you believe as long as she can control you, whereas Zach did care what his followers believed. Angelina only takes the liberal side because their belief system is the most amoral, and amoral people tend to be more like Angelina. Angelina probably laughs at conservatives who are fanatics when she gets them under her brain control. The key to all Angelina Ballerina followers is fanaticism and true intolerance and an inability to be objective about those who don't have your ideology or your viewpoint. If you don't worship Angelina, Angelina feels she has the right to do anything she wants with you to eliminate you one way or another, either through brain control or death. Angelina Ballerina Jesuits have absolutely no moral standards and no true tolerance. They know they're hypocrites and that they spout that Trump is intolerant and that they're fighting for tolerance, while they threaten to kill those who disagree with them. As I've said about Angelina, she's an evil woman with no moral standards and no true ideology that she believes in. She changes her colors from day to day, only to say things that sound good and which she personally does not believe. She thinks all moral rants are a waste of time, but will allow her followers to use them if it helps her discredit her enemies. Angelina is a total pragmatist, more concerned about results than ideology, or what is right or wrong. Her only goal is to win, which means to acquire all the men on my marriage list as her brain-controlled sex slaves. But after Vladimir Putin nuked the Trump rally, that was November the 4th, and all the men died, she has failed in that objective. For this, she probably wants Vladimir dead now. However, she's still trying to take over the planet for Satan, and will stop at nothing and will do anything to accomplish that objective. Unlike Zach, who was guided by some moral principles, Angelina has no morals and considers herself superior to Zach in this respect. If you'll notice, her followers have no morals either, and when they spout moral positions, they are the worst hypocrites, actually being the perpetrators of the very crimes that they condemn. To all this, Angelina just laughs and says, "Good job. I'm sure some dumb suckers will fall for your crap, and I can then take over their stupid brains with brain control. All that matters is that we win. It doesn't matter what we have to do to win, as this issue of right and wrong and any type of morality is hogwash. This is where Zach failed, and where we will not fail." I'm sure this is her attitude. To this, I have to say, Angelina, we are on Jesus Christ's side. You are on Satan's side, and Satan is a loser. To sum it all up, folks, I'm the U.S. president, and I've chosen Donald Trump, the Donald Trump automaton, as my spokesperson. Angelina wants you to think that the argument and the riots are about liberal versus conservative, Democratic versus Republican, when it's really about establishment, or Jesuit control over everybody, versus anti-establishment and true freedom from control. So if you like being controlled by Angelina Ballerina, then you are against Donald Trump. If you want to be free from Angelina Ballerina, then you are for Donald Trump. You might say, that's not true. He's an intolerant conservative. Oh, you stupid liberal. Angelina has you hook, line, and sinker. That's what she wants you to believe, so she can oust Donald and get control over everybody. Or I can hear a conservative, that's not true. It's about our Supreme Court appointments and our ability to be against abortion and gun rights and so forth. You dumb conservative. Don't get on your high horse either. Angelina can work as a conservative if she has to. We don't want Jesuits to have gun rights, do we? Which was one reason that Barack Obama issued stricter gun control laws. What matters more than ideology is whether the president is for the Jesuits or against them. The Jesuit order has been the cause of most of the problems we have in the world today. Their downfall will bring the world some much-needed peace and prosperity. And I define a Jesuit as an Angelina Ballerina supporter because Zach Knight is no longer a Jesuit, going by that definition. You know, Jesuits can work with a conservative like they did with George W. Bush, and they can work with a liberal like they tried to do with Hillary Clinton, and they're still trying to do with Hillary Clinton. You liberals might say, but the fake news is lying about the riots. They're not violent. Actually, Angelina Ballerina Jesuits have been violent, okay? So that is correct. They're not lying about that. I define fake news as news that lies to you. Going by that correct criteria, everything out there is fake news, except Gabriel Chana Fox News, 00 on cable. InfoWars with Alex Jones seems pretty accurate, and Dennis Michael Lynch seems fairly reliable. Fox News is the most objective of the mainstream newscasts, but the rest are all in bed with Angelina Ballerina. It's not liberal versus conservative, and if you believe that, you're helping out Angelina Ballerina. It's about establishment for Jesuit control over all of us versus anti-establishment, freedom from Jesuit control for all of us. You might say, but the KKK endorses Trump. Okay, so let's say the KKK decided to endorse one of you liberals. Does that make you a KKK member? You say that would never happen. Well, that's because you're not running for president. But if you are, be prepared for all sorts of weirdos to start endorsing you. These weirdos are part of Angelina's propaganda machine. An endorsement is an endorsement. Trump does not desire the KKK's endorsement, but he can't control who they endorse. Don't be a brainwashed idiot, you liberals, right now. Think for yourself for a change. Don't you realize that Angelina has taken over your brain and has convinced you that the argument is about liberal versus conservative when it's actually establishment versus anti-establishment? And if your brain was working right, you'd see this. You can't see this because, frankly, I think you're a little insane right now. Good job, Angelina. Your brain control works pretty good. Nobody's thinking straight. We need to get everybody on Seroquel. The narrative, or what is the alleged argument, is some delusional version of reality. Everybody thinks it's about racism versus intolerance. That's not what the fight is about. It's about establishment versus anti-establishment. Satan and Angelina have brainwashed you into thinking the fight is for tolerance, where Angelina parades under the liberal banner as an angel of tolerance, while she underhandedly schemes for control over everybody. The narrative is really about control versus freedom. That's what the fight is really about. And those who have their sanity can see this. Those who side with Trump and me are for freedom. Those who side with Hillary Clinton are for being controlled, while they riot for tolerance. Angelina has got them distracted with a side issue so she can successfully control them and defeat me, who is in her way.